What up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and gambling fans? Welcome to week 5 of Pewter Picks and Props, brought to you by PewterReport.com. I'm your host, Matt Matera. We got Bucs picks to get to right away, NFL picks, and this year we've added college football picks as well. It's a special Thursday night edition of Pewter Picks and Props. This episode will be out earlier in the week because the Bucs play on Thursday Night Football. They're on the road taking on the Atlanta Falcons in a very exciting divisional matchup. So we'll get to my Bucs picks first. We usually save that for the end, but since the Bucs are the first game of the week, we'll get right into Bucs Falcons after we take a quick look at my record from last week and my record overall on the season. Another winning week in the NFL and in college, as you see on the screen there. I was 4-3 in college and 3-2 with the NFL. That includes the Bucs game and the over/under in the Bucs game. 16-10 on the season in college, 16-11 on the NFL. Have some work to do with my Bucs props. I was 2-3 last week, 8-10 on the season, and I just cannot find someone to score a touchdown for the Buccaneers. So I'm 0-4 in my TD props. Looking to change that this week, looking to continue to keep winning with my NFL and college picks. And so, even though if you want to make Bucs picks for Thursday night, this video is still good for the rest of the weekend because I make my college football picks for the Saturday games and, of course, the rest of the NFL slate on Sunday. But like I said, from the top, we're starting off with Bucs versus Falcons, a very fun matchup coming up. I'll bring that season record back up in a little bit. So, my pick for Bucs versus Falcons, and of course the over/under in this game. I am going with the Bucs +2 and the under of 44. This is a game that the Bucs have had circled on their schedule, on their calendar since the schedule came out. This is in the Bucs' DNA. People are doubting them. They want to prove people wrong. They have a chip on their shoulder. The Falcons have been looked at as the favorite in the NFC South. But the Bucs are on top of the division, and they want to show if you come at the king, you best not miss. I think right now, as it stands, the Bucs have a better team that is functioning at a higher level throughout the first 4 and now 5 weeks of the season. Baker Mayfield has great chemistry with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. The running game got going a little bit. But really the reason why I love this game and specifically why I like the under in this one is because I think the Bucs defense is going to feast against Kirk Cousins, who's an absolute statue back there. Remember, the Falcons did not score an offensive touchdown last week when they beat the Saints. They had a special team score and a defensive touchdown as well. So even though the Falcons have talent, and don't get me wrong, they have tons and tons of talent, the Bucs pass rush got it together last week with 6 sacks. Now they're playing the most immobile quarterback that they've played so far on their schedule this year. I think it's a big game for Yaya Diaby. Having Vita Vea back made all of the difference. The Falcons have not been able to run the ball with Bijan Robinson. Kirk Cousins doesn't throw it down the field. He doesn't have the same velocity that he once did. So if you're able to shut down Drake London, I think the Falcons, if they are able to score, it's not going to be a quick, explosive play. And that's why, looking on the other side with the Bucs offense, the reason why the Falcons have been in all of their games and why they beat the Saints last week and why they kept it close against the Chiefs, it's all been because of that defense. It's because of a lot of the guys in the secondary, like A.J. Terrell at corner and Bates and Simmons at safety. The Bucs aren't going to be able to go deep, especially because of the safeties that they got back there. It's going to be a lot of short, underneath type of plays, and the Falcons have a great defense. They are tough to go against, so I think the Bucs may have to end up settling for some field goals or having those longer drives because they got to throw it shorter. All of that adds up to the under of 44, but I also really like the Bucs at +2. To be honest with you, I think they're going to sweep the Falcons this year. I think the Bucs win both games in the month of October because the Falcons still have to figure out who they are and what they are, especially on the offensive side. Until it clicks for them, this is still the Bucs division. They got a lot to prove. It's on a national stage. The Bucs want to get some more attention on them. I mean, they're not asking for it, but I think they would prefer for people to take them seriously. And this is a great opportunity to do it on Thursday night. So those are my picks for the game itself. Bucs +2, under of 44. Now we're going to go to some player props in this one. I have 4 player props and a touchdown prop as well. We will kick it off with a quick fan favorite, even though he's new to the team for the Bucs. Bucky Irving going to have a good amount of rushing attempts in this one. This one is Bucky Irving over 8.5 rushing attempts. Now, last week, Todd Bowles said he's going to get more reps. He's earned more reps. And in the game against the Eagles, Bucky had 10 rushing attempts for 49 yards and also scored his first career touchdown. Rachaad White, also 10 rushing attempts for 49 yards. But because the Falcons are going to be playing a lot of cover 2, that opens the door for the Bucs to run the football. And since it's on a shorter week, Bucky Irving's the younger of the two. They may try to run him a little bit more as guys are sore going into this game and probably banged up from Sunday. So if they go with the younger player in Bucky Irving, who's earned more rushing attempts, I think he gets at least 9 or 10. So over on the rushing attempts for Bucky Irving is the pick at 8.5. Moving on to the next one, we are talking about Baker Mayfield. Baker, I have going under on the passing yards for him, under 238.5. This doesn't mean I don't think Baker can be productive in this game, but it goes back to what I said at the beginning. The Falcons have 2 great safeties in Bates and Simmons. A.J. Terrell's a really good corner. They are going to play a lot of cover 2. They're going to force the ball, and they're going to play a lot of man-to-man as well, which makes Baker have to hold on to the ball for another second. I think we're going to see a lot of crossing routes by Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, short underneath things, Godwin in the slot over the middle. The Bucs are going to be able to move the football a little bit, but I think they're going to rely on their running game just a little bit more, and having to throw these short and intermediate routes and some screens to the running backs doesn't always accumulate up to a ton of more passing yards throughout the game. Baker can still be very efficient. The Bucs can still score points. I don't think we're going to see many 25-yard passes, 30-yard gains, and things of that nature. So because of that, it's under 238.5 passing yards for Baker Mayfield. Sticking in the passing game, Chris, praise be to Godwin, over 5.5 catches. He'll be in the slot. He's the top target for Baker Mayfield. He's been the most consistent wide receiver for the Buccaneers this year. He's having a Pro Bowl season. He's potentially having an all-pro season. And everything I said about going underneath, slants, crossers, all of that stuff, maybe a screen or 2 to Chris Godwin, he's going to get over 5.5 catches. I feel really good about that one in particular. And then a player prop on a guy that I bet a lot on last year, but haven't gone to the well just yet this time around. Taking over 1.5 field goals for Chase Money McLaughlin. This is the second road game of the year for the Bucs. They had to settle for a fair amount of field goals against the Lions, which they still won that game. It could be a similar situation where the Bucs get into the red zone, then that crowd takes over for Atlanta a little bit, and just the fact that they have a really good defense. Points will be important in this game. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. You'll take them where you can get them. Chase McLaughlin is pretty automatic when it comes to kicking, so I'll take over 1.5 field goals for Chase McLaughlin. Next up, we have the touchdown prop for the Bucs game. And I am going with someone in this picture, not the guy holding the football in Bucky Irving. I'm actually taking Cade Otton to score a touchdown. The odds of that is plus 300. The Bucs have been throwing him the football, Baker Mayfield specifically, have been throwing him the football just a little bit more over the last 2 games. He did have a goal line target in week 2 against the Detroit Lions. He scored a fair amount of touchdowns against the NFC South. One against the Falcons, a couple against the Saints. And in a game where everyone knows that Baker's looking for Mike and Chris, It may come down to a third or fourth option in the red zone in this game in particular. And with Trey Palmer out and Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard is more, he's not necessarily a red zone target as he is just kind of more of a down the field type of guy. So Cade Otton may get an opportunity or two when the Bucs are at the goal line or in the red zone. So at a value of plus 300, Cade Otton, not the worst idea to sprinkle a little money on him. Eventually, I got to get a touchdown prop, right? So hopefully this is the week with Cade Otton. So those are all my picks for Bucs versus Falcons specifically. Bucs +2 and the under 44 and all of the player props that I just rattled off. So now we're going to go to the college football section of this, and then we'll finish up with the NFL, the other games that are coming up on Sunday. I'll also put up my overall record once again. So if you fast forward through the show or want to look for certain things, you can still kind of get a grasp on how I'm doing this season. So let's kick it off with college football, starting off with a big-time SEC game. The 9th-ranked Missouri against Texas A&M. This game is at Kyle Field in Texas, Texas A&M. Shout out Mike Evans. But I'll take the under 48.5 in this one. Texas A&M, their issues have been on offense. They still have as good of a defense as you'll find in the SEC. Mizzou wants to show that they are a top 10 team in this league. It's a little bit of smash mouth football. Texas A&M is either going to struggle moving the football or their defense will make Missouri kick field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. So under 48.5 is the pick. We have a Big Ten matchup up next. I'm riding the hot hand of an undefeated Rutgers. So shout out to Christian Izzian. +7 going to Nebraska, of course, the alma mater of Levante David. So shout out to Levante. I just like that Rutgers is still undefeated. Nebraska had a little bit of a slip up against Illinois. They have a really good team. Everyone likes Raiola, the quarterback of Nebraska. I think Rutgers can kind of hang tough, though, and kind of ride the momentum of what they've done this season. So Rutgers +7 on the road. The dogs are barking this week. I have a fair amount of underdogs in this one. Next is South Carolina +9.5. They are hosting Ole Miss. Obviously, Ole Miss had the huge upset loss at home against Kentucky, the former place where Liam Cohen, Bucs offensive coordinator, was in the same position with Kentucky. That was a big win for the Wildcats. Ole Miss, they can't hang tough against physical teams. They can beat, the D2 teams and teams that don't have a defense. But when it comes to smash mouth, hard-nosed football, Ole Miss just never brings it. South Carolina's going to try to out-physical them. They'll have the benefit of the home crowd behind them as well. And sometimes when a team loses in a game to a team that they should totally defeat, like Ole Miss against Kentucky, sometimes the team responds back in a great way, but other times it just keeps rolling downhill. And I think that's going to be the case for Ole Miss. So I'll take the Gamecocks of South Carolina +9.5. This next pick, kind of similar with Rutgers and just riding the hot hand. They are a favorite in this one, but I'll take Indiana -13.5 heading to Northwestern. Indiana's been a great college football team this year. They hired the coach from James Madison that made them a great program, and they're just steamrolling opponents, rocking and rolling, putting up some good numbers. I don't really trust Northwestern, so Indiana -13.5. We'll see if their run can continue. I'm going to bank on it for that one. My last college football pick, I don't love this one, but it's such a lopsided spread that I think it's worth taking a chance on. Iowa +20.5 going to Ohio State. We know Iowa has a defense. They love to punt the football. I'm not saying Iowa's going to win this game, but I think their offense is a tad bit better than what it's been in the past. And hopefully their defense comes to play, gets a couple of stops against Ohio State. Even Ohio State can win by 17. That's fine. If Iowa can get a lead at all, they will control the clock and bleed it as much as they possibly can. It's tough to win against your own conference rival, especially in the Big Ten. It's tough to win by 21 points. So I'll take Iowa +20.5. Moving on, we got the NFL. we will start off with a game over across the pond. Vikings, Jets. I like the Vikings minus 2.5 going up against Aaron Rodgers and company. The Vikings are a wagon. They're undefeated. Sam Darnold looks fantastic. He already had his revenge game against the Jets. I still trust Aaron Rodgers. I still think the Jets offense is going to do great things when it's all said and done. I don't trust Robert Saleh. I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett. And the Jets defense isn't as good as it once was. I think they're going to struggle to get pressure on Sam Darnold. The Vikings blitz all of the time. The Jets struggled against the blitz against the Broncos last week. And everyone's talking about Devontae Adams. When does Devontae Adams come into the Jets? That could be a distraction until he's finally in the room and Aaron Rodgers is banged up. I think the locomotive that is the Vikings continue in London. Next game, a little bit of a risk here, but so many unders have hit, so I'll take the under of 49 in Ravens-Bengals. I know the Bengals offense has been good, but their defense is terrible. Now you're thinking, well, if they have a terrible defense, why are you taking the under? Because the Ravens have been fantastic running the football. Whether it's Derrick Henry, whether it's Hill, obviously Lamar Jackson can run. If you're running, you're going to take plenty of time off the clock. I think the Ravens, if they force the Bengals to be in a pass-happy mode because they're down, that benefits the Ravens. They can attack with the pass rush and obviously have some great linebackers as well. 49 is a lot of points. You're asking everybody to score consistently with the Ravens wanting to run the ball. I'll take the under of 49. Speaking of bad defenses, I like the 49ers -7 at home against the Cardinals because the Cardinals have a terrible defense, so it doesn't matter how many injuries the 49ers have. Plus, they got Kittle back. And Kyler Murray is running for his life with the Cardinals' offensive line. 49ers have a fantastic pass rush. They're home. I'm sure they're still pissed that they lost a couple weeks ago to the Rams. 49ers prove that they can still score regardless of what personnel they have. So they win by more than a touchdown at home, -7 against the Cardinals. Another dicey one, but the Panthers and Bears, I'm taking the over of 42 because it's a low number. Caleb Williams is getting more and more comfortable each week. I think the team is healthier overall with Keenan Allen coming back. And the Panthers have been able to score since Andy Dalton has become the quarterback. So although the Bears have a great defense, not asking the Panthers to score too much based on that low number of 42. So I'll take the over in this one. My final game, it's the Sunday night game. This is the last time I'm betting on the Cowboys if they don't hit this week. Their defense is terrible, but the Steelers' offense is an enigma of its own. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it looks terrible. Steelers are all about their defense and running the football. The Cowboys still have a very high-profile offense. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Could be kind of murky and disgusting based on who decides to show up on each team. But I think this is the week. Remember, the Cowboys played on Thursday night, so they've had plenty of more extra time to prepare for this game. Maybe this is the time that the Cowboys put it together. I'll take them +2.5 at the Steelers. So we got a lot of games to pick this week, especially with the Bucs going on Thursday. I hope you guys have a fun time watching the game. Hope the Bucs win for everybody. Please tail my picks. And also, please like and subscribe to Pewter Report TV where this is on. You can follow me at Matty4_Matera. You see that in the bottom part of this screen. Of course, if you have any suggestions, things you like, things you don't like, please put it in the comments. We'll react to a lot of it. And that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate all of you, and let's win some money. Out.